The vertically and crosswise sutra can be used to multiply or divide numbers of any size. TSG shows us how to do this, starting with two two-figure numbers. He shows us this vertical crosswise vertical pattern and then develops the pattern to handle bigger numbers. What I'd like to show in this presentation here is that there's no need to develop the pattern beyond the vertical crosswise vertical. That is enough to handle all multiplications and divisions. If we want to multiply, say, 21 by 3, we multiply by a single digit number, it's obviously very easy, and everybody knows this, every school child knows this. We simply multiply vertically here, 1 times 3 is 3, and then we multiply crosswise, 2 times 3 is 6, and we get the answer 63. A slightly different arrangement is if you move the multiplier. So you would multiply 1 times 3 to get 3, and then you would move your multiplier, the 3, over and multiply vertically again. This is called the moving multiplier. So you move the 3 over to here, multiply vertically, 2 times 3 is 6. It's a slight difference, but actually it's quite a powerful and useful thing to be able to do. And we'll be using this. Similarly, if we've got a longer number, say 321 times 3, we can multiply vertically there. 1 times 3 is 3. Then crosswise, 2 times 3 is 6. And then crosswise again, 3 times 3 is 9. Or we can simply move the 3 over in stages. So 1 times 3 is 3, move the 3 over using the moving multiplier, multiply vertically, we get 2 3s are 6, move it over again, multiply vertically to get 9. Now here comes the usual vertical crosswise vertical pattern if we've got two two-figure numbers, like say 21 times 23. We could do this by multiplying vertically on the right. 1 times 3 is 3. Then we multiply crosswise like this. So we have 2 times 3 is 6, and 1 times 2 is 2, and 6 and 2 is 8. And then vertically on the left, 2 times 2 is 4. We get 483. And it's easy to understand what we're doing because we're multiplying units by units to get the units. And then we're collecting up the tens by doing the crosswise step. We're multiplying tens by units and units by tens, so that gives us 8 in the tens place. And then we're doing tens times tens, which gives us hundreds, so we get 4 hundredths. Here's another one with a carry, 23 times 45. So 3 times 5 is the first step, 15, and we've got a 1 to carry. Then crosswise, we've got 2 5s are 10, 3 4s are 12, 10 and 12 is 22, and with the carry we get 23. So we put down 3 and carry 2. Then we multiply vertically on the left, 2 times 4 is 8, and with the 2 we carried we get 10, and so the answer is 1035. An alternative way would be to just think that we're multiplying 23 by 45 by thinking of the 45 as being 45 units. So we're going to multiply vertically here and then crosswise and do it in 2 steps. So 3 times 45 to start with, that's 135. So we need to put down 5, the last figure of 135, and carry 13, like that. Now we do the crosswise step. 2 times 45 is 90, and we add 13 onto 90, giving us 103. So the same answer, of course, 1035. So in addition to the moving multiplier thing that we did just now, we're also going to use this way of grouping digits together like this. So the moving multiplier and the grouping are the two things we're going to be using to develop our vertical crosswise vertical method. So let's move on and let's think about a 3-figure number times a 2-figure number. Let's say 234 multiplied by 45. Well, we can carry on the grouping thing we did just now and just think of multiplying each of those digits, 2, 3 and 4, by 45. So we'll be multiplying vertically here, 4 times 45, that's, if you double it twice you get 180. So we'll put down 0 and carry 18. Next we multiply crosswise here, 3 times 45, that's 135. And we've got to add 18 on to 135, which is 153. So I put down 3 and carry 15. Finally I've got to multiply the 2 by the 45 and add on the 15. So I've got 90 there, and 15 is 105. 10530. Let's look at a different way. Suppose we group the 23 together. There, so we're imagining that we've got 23 tens and 4 units and 45 units. So we're going to do a vertical and a crosswise only. So vertically, 4 times 45, that's 180 again. So we put down 0 and carry 18. Now we have to do this crosswise step, which means multiply 23 by 45. So we will do that by our vertical crosswise vertical pattern. In fact, that's what we did just now, and the result was 1035. So I'm going to assume that we can do that easily. 1035, I've got to add on the 18 to the 1035, which gives me 1053. So 10530, the same as we had before. Let's try another arrangement here. We can group the 23 together as a single unit, and the 4 there, and then the 4, 5. So we're going to use vertical, crosswise, vertical here. That's the vertical, then the crosswise, and then the vertical. So 4 times 5 is where we start, and that's 20, so we put down 0 and carry 2. Now the crosswise. 23 times 5, that's 115. 4 times 4 is 16, so that's 131. 115 and 16 is 131, and with the 2 we get 133. Put down 3 and carry 13. Then to complete the pattern we multiply vertically here. We have 23 times 4, that's 92. Add on 13, it's 105. 10530. So all these variations are possible, and here's another one. We're going to group the 34 together here with the 45, and when we do that, so we've got pairs of figures on the right hand side put together, we're able to work 2 figures at a time. And the reason for that is because we've got 34 units by 45 units, and this 2 is 2 hundredths. There's no way we can multiply these to get tens. We're multiplying units by units and hundreds times units. So we're going to get the units first of all, and then the hundredths, which means that when we work out this product here, this vertical product, we can put down the last 2 figures because we can put down tens and units. So let's see, 34 times 45, we're going to have to use the vertical crosswise vertical pattern there. So let's just do that. Let's think. 4 5s are 20. We put down 0, carry 2. And then we've got 15 and 16, that's 31. And with the carry 2 we've got 33. So we've got 330, where the first 3 is a carry. And then we've got 3 times 4 vertically here is 12. With the carried 3 that's 15. We've got 1530. And so we put down 30, as I said, and carry the rest, the 15. Now we can multiply crosswise. 2 45s are 90, and the 15 is 105. Well, there's another way also that we can do this, and that's using the moving multiplier. So 2, 3, 4 times 45 again. What we're going to do here is to multiply vertically and crosswise, like this, vertically and then crosswise. And then we're going to move the 45 over to the left, like this, and do crosswise and vertical. So it's just a sort of expansion of the vertical crosswise thing. We've got 2 crosswises instead of 1. So we begin with 4 times 5 is 20. Put down 0, carry 2. Now crosswise, 3 5s are 15, 4 4s are 16, 15 and 16 is 31, and with the carry 2 we've got 33. Put down 3, carry 3. Now we shift the 45 over and multiply crosswise here and here. So 10 and 12 is 22, and with the carry 3 we've got 25. Put down 5, carry 2. Finally we have the vertical on the left. 2 times 4 is 8, and with the 2 we get 10. So that's the same answer as we had before. So we can extend the vertical crosswise vertical pattern to handle products of 3-figure numbers times 2-figure numbers, and there are various ways we can do it. Let's take 2 3-figure numbers, say 213 times 312. Since we're only going to use vertical crosswise vertical, we're only going to be looking at 2 groups. So we've got to somehow group into 2 groups. So we can put the 21 together, and then 3, and the 31 together, and then a 2. And we can do vertically and crosswise on that. So 3 times 2 is going to be 6. And crosswise we get 42 this way, 93 this way. That's 135. Put down 5 and carry 13. Then vertically on the left, 21 times 31. Well, again, we've got a 2-figure number times a 2-figure number. We can use vertically and crosswise. This one's very easy because there are no carries. We get a 1 multiplying vertically here. We get 2 and 3 is 5 crosswise, and we get 2 3s are 6. We get 6 5 1, and we have to add on the 13, so that's 6 6 4. That's the answer, 6 6 4 5 6. Let's look at another way. Suppose we group like this instead, with the 13 grouped together and the 12 grouped together like that. As I mentioned before, because we've got a pair of figures on the right, like this, we work in 2 figures at a time. So when we begin with a vertical here, and we say 13 times 12 is 156, we can put down 56 and carry 1. Now crosswise, 2 12s are 24, 13 times 3 is 39. Add up 24 and 39, we get 63, and with the one we carried we have 64. And we can put both figures down because we're working 2 figures at a time. Finally, the vertical on the left, 2 times 3 is 6, and we just put that down, and that's the same answer again. Let's try it this way with the moving multiplier. So we're going to move the 31 and the 2 over one space after we've done the vertical on the right and the crosswise on the right. So let's see. 3 times 2 is 6. Crosswise, we've got 2 here and 93, that's 95. put down 5 and carry 9. Next we move the 31 to over like this and do the crosswise here. So we have 4 and 31, that's 35, and with the 9 we get 44. Put down 4 and carry 4. The last step is the vertical on the left there. 2 times 31 is 62, and 4 gives you 66. So you've got all these nice variations for using the vertical crosswise vertical pattern. And although the pattern can be extended, as I mentioned before, students do sometimes make a mistake, because with multiplying two three-figure numbers using the extended pattern you've got 5 steps, and students can sometimes miss one out. Here's another way which you can arrange the numbers: 213 and 312. However, this is not one we can use, because the vertical and crosswise method assumes that we've got powers of 10 here. We've got units, tens, hundreds in that order. And here we've got them mixed up. We've got units and then we've got what's actually hundreds. So this won't do. We can't have this arrangement of numbers. Let's just go on to some 4-figure numbers. 2312 times 1234, say. There are again many ways in which we could use grouping and the moving multiplier to multiply these numbers, but I'm only going to do one, just going to apply the vertical crosswise vertical pattern. So if we start on the right here and do 12 times 34, we would need to do a little vertical crosswise vertical on those 2 pairs of numbers, and without going through it in detail we would get 408. And because we've chosen to put 2 figures on the right here, we put down the 08 and carry the 4. So it looks like this. Next we multiply the crosswise steps. So we'd have 23 times 34 and 12 times 12. 23 times 34 I've done here. Again, I won't go through it. 782. And the 12 times 12, maybe you know that's 144. And of course we need to add these 2 up. So we're going to get 926. And with the 4, that becomes 930. And so we put down 30 and carry 9. Finally, we have the vertical on the left there. 23 times 12, so we do a vertical crosswise vertical pattern on that. We get 276, and with the 9 we carried, we have 285. So that goes down. As I said, there are many ways of doing this. I'm only going to show one here, because I think I've shown the main methods which can be developed for 4, 5, 6-figure numbers. So that's it. The basic vertical crosswise vertical pattern can be used to find all multiplications. In fact, you can use them on algebraic products as well. And we've been using 2 devices, the grouping and the moving multiplier. So next I'm going to show how we can do division. Division is simply the reverse of multiplication. So in order to illustrate, I'm going to do this again, 23 times 45, using vertical crosswise vertical. We do 3 times 5 is 15, put down 5, carry 1. Then crosswise we've got 10 and 12 is 22, and the carry gives 23, put down 3 and carry 2. Then vertically on the left, 2 times 4 is 8 and 2 is 10, 1035. We can reverse that. For example, given 1035 and 45, what is the other number which multiplies that 45 to give us 1035? That's division. That's dividing 1035 by 45. Well, looking at the hundreds, we know that comes from the tens times the tens. So since we've got 10 there in the hundreds, this must be a 2, because 2 times 4 is 8, which takes account of all of that 10 except for 2. So we put 2 down here. That's the division we're doing. We put 2 down here, and there's going to be a carry of 2 as well, because 2 times 4 is 8 and we've got 10, so that goes there. Now the crosswise products have to account for the tens, and that's, we've got 23 tens here. This one, we know 2 times 5 is 10, so we can take that away from 23 to leave 13. So this cross product here has got to come to 13 or something a little less, and clearly it's going to be a 3 because that gives us 12, and the 12 and the 10 gives us 22. So this is a 3, and because that only gives us 22, there's 1 left over. Now we can see that if we look at the vertical, we've got 3 times 5 is 15, and so there's no remainder. Let's take another example. We had this earlier, 213 times 312, and we simply did it like this. 3 times 2 is 6, and then we get 42 and 93, which is 135, so we put down 5 and carry 13. And then vertically here we had 21 times 31 is 651, and with the 13 we get 664. So the question is, suppose you want to reverse this and divide 66456 by 312, what is the other number? And that's division. So we're doing this division at the moment. How do we know to set it out like this? Well, we've decided that we want to keep one figure here and one figure here, and in a few minutes we'll do it the other way, where we have a pair of figures here and a pair of figures here. So we decided to put the 5 there and the 6 there and put the rest on the left. And so we're working one figure at a time, not two figures at a time, and so we can put the 31 here and the 2 here. And we can also see, if we look at the division here, if we sort of cancel out the last 2 digits on each side there, we can see we've got 3 and 664, so we're going to get an answer around 200, which means the first figure here has got to be a 2. And in fact 2 31's 62, and so if we take the 62 away from here, we're left with 44, and so the other digit that goes with that 2 must be a 1, because there's only one 31 in 44. So that's 21, and once we take the 31 from the 44, we're left with 13 to carry forward like that. Now we can look at the crosswise step. We know this one, and we can find this one because we know it's got to come to 135, or nearly that. So here we got 42. We take it away, we're left with 93. So this product has got to be 93 or a bit less, and if we put a 3 here, that will give us the answer we want. So that's a 3. It also gives us 3 times 2 is 6. So we've successfully reversed that multiplication and divided those numbers. Now let's do it the alternative way, where we're going to work with double figures. Suppose we multiply here, just to remind you what we do. We're multiplying 213 by 312 with 2 figures on the right. So we start with 13 times 12, which is 156. So we put down 56 and carry 1. Now the crosswise means 24 and 39. That's 63. And with the carry we have 64, and we can put both figures down. Then vertically on the left, 2 times 3 is 6. So let's see how we can divide these numbers again with 2-figure numbers on the right. So we're working with pairs of figures. And that means that we can write the number like this. the number we're dividing, the dividend. It's 56, 64 and the 6 over there. And therefore our answer is going to look like this. Hundreds and a number of units. So again, we're going to work on the left. We can see that this is a 6 and that it comes from this product here, and therefore clearly that is a 2. Now the crosswise step must account for the 64 here. So we can look at this one and decide what this must be. Here we've got 24, so we can take that away from the 64 to leave 40. So this product must give us 40 or something close to that. And in fact, if this is 13, we've got 39. So it must be 13, and there must be one left over, which we put here. And then 13 times 12 is 156, and so the answer is exact. So that's it. We can use the vertical crosswise vertical pattern to do all multiplications and divisions.